Yes, sir. Welcome back to the Hurdle, episode 92 on this beautifully, well, I guess it's a balmy Tuesday night because it's not quite night. I'm joined, as always, by my main man, Matty Kiwoom. You can find him over on X at Matty Kiwoom. And right there in the middle is our very special guest. We have had very few guests on the Hurdle over its 92 episodes. Fizzle at FizzleDollas on
That's
X.
right.
The curator of the Marathon Fantasy Football Show on Friday nights on the South Harmon Fantasy Football Channel. First and foremost, Fizz, how you doing?
I'm cool, man. I'm good. I wish we could have got here at night, man. I wanted to holler at the people, man, but we're gonna get this thing uploaded and they're gonna tap in with us either way, man. I wanted my boy Fantasy Plumber, man. I know he always come in on here with y'all. So, I say, I'm gonna holler at the plumber tonight. So you watching this? My toilet blacked up, brother. I need you to hook me up, man. Hook me up.
Shout out to all of the people that jump up in the chat tonight. We appreciate you. We love you. You guys all know it's big draft week this week, so we're trying to get everything in and everything out. And then once the season really begins this weekend, we'll be live every single Tuesday. Matty Kiwoom, how you doing?
Doing good. This is the big seasonal draft weekend, so it was a long weekend. Had a couple of drafts personally, ready to, kind of get all the I's dotted and T's crossed for the season for Thursday. It's a good one. It's gonna be it's a big week. You can feel it. You can feel it bubbling up already.
Football. I'm excited, boys. We're like inside of 48 hours till kickoff.
Yes, sir.
Inside of 48 hours, like you can just we've gotten all the college football over the last couple weeks. Florida State hasn't won a game yet. Miami's hot. First time in 20 years. I'm here. Heard that. All right. Tonight, though, NFL preseason awards show. We're going to go through MVP, Offensive Rookie of the Year, Fantasy Player of the Year, Fantasy Late Round Player of the Year. We'll give you some division and conference projections and our Super Bowl picks, because who doesn't want to hear our Super Bowl picks as we get into the season? But first and foremost, we got a couple things to knock out. Number one being an announcement. Next Tuesday and every Tuesday during the NFL season.
18 of them, right? 18, 17, 18, one of them.
Whatever. 17,
Whatever
18,
it is, right?
19, 20. If it's hot, we'll go 21. I don't care.
That's it.
Fizz and myself will be live at 10 a.m. on the South Harmon Fantasy Football Channel with the cook-up.
Cooking it up, baby. Breakfast time, we cooking. Can't wait, man. I honestly, I felt like we need a morning show. Like I told Cody, I said, I know we the degenerates of fantasy and dynasty, but we can come out in the daytime. We ain't vampires. We come on in the daylight. So let's get it, man. Morning time. Come tap in with us.
Some of these people in the space, I'm not sure. Some of these people might be vampires because you ain't never see them in the light. Usually, they pop out 8 p.m. But hey, we're here every day. We're growing this thing at South Harmon. You got to tap in southharmonff.com. You got to tap in patreon.com/South Harmon. And then, of course, click that like button, click subscribe here on the YouTube channel. Maddie, you got any, what do we got for like a show schedule? You got the content schedule built up for the South Harmon stuff this year?
We have a big time content schedule. And this week, obviously, with the NFL kicking off, we had to make sure that baby was dialed in. So this is what you guys can expect every single week here at South Harmon FF on the YouTube channel. Sundays, obviously, is the big day. The game plan kicking us off at 9 a.m. Then we have Start or Shit, where a rotating guest will be joining Eric Vanek as we get your lineups dialed in for the weekly matchup. And then, of course, Adam and Mike running back the Sunday recap show every single Sunday evening. You can expect 3 solo videos a week, one from myself, one from Mike, one from Adam. And then, of course, if you've been tuning in to McNutted right now, Iowa Mike, Big Mike Crystal's been trying to lead Iowa to some wins in NCAA 25. So he's got his NCAA 25 stream. That can come anywhere from Sundays, Mondays, Fridays. That's going to be a fluid schedule, but you definitely want to check that out. It's always entertaining with Mike. Watching Mike do anything is entertaining, but watching him play Iowa football in 25, I can't lie. It's become a big-time joy for me. Awesome.
Yeah, I'd rather him do it than me. That's for sure.
Really,
you guys have your online
thing.
You guys have the online dynasty going on. I always see that in the Discord. So if you want to see what the hell's going on, I'm not participating. But I kind of know what's going on just from following the Discord. Tuesday, big day. As Cody says, Fizz and Cody starting up the cook up every morning, 10 a.m. The waiver wire show with Eric Vanek will be coming out And then the hurdle every single Tuesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Let's rock and roll. Starting Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, podcasts every single day. All in with Matt and Pat. On Wednesdays, Thursdays, America's Game with Eric Bannock. The walkthrough, Cody and I's new matchup breakdown pod will be dropping on Friday mornings, and Grinding the Edge with the legend Cooper Trooper on Saturdays. And then, of course, the marathon every single Friday. The live stream comes out with Fizz and Mike, and Wednesday MA. That's already set in stone. And the Dynasty Trade Show will be going on every single Saturday. So Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, it don't freaking matter. South Harmon's putting out some content.
Are you sweating yet? Because that was a long list. That was a laundry list. I mean, the content isn't going to stop.
That was real.
Big things. It takes time to explain it. If it was 2 sentences, like no one would care. But we got a lot coming. We've been teasing it all freaking off season, and now it's here. It's time to get going, and we're dialed in. We're ready to rock and roll for the 2024 season.
Yeah, it came at a good time too. Good time. Season kicking off. It's the time, They locked in.
All right, number one. Let's start with MVP. Let's talk about these preseason award shows. MVP is the one. I mean, we've talked about it. It goes to quarterback. I mean, it feels like every other year, right? Every year it's the Heisman, it's the MVP award. It goes to quarterback. We talked about this a little bit before the show of what direction we were going to talk about. MVP, like I said, Offensive Rookie of the Year, Fantasy Player of the Year, Fantasy Late Round Player of the Year. Let's start with MVP. So here's the odds. According to a multitude of sports books, right now the favorite is, of course, the back-to-back Super Bowl champion Patrick Mahomes, ranging between plus 450 and plus 500. Josh Allen, Buffalo Bills quarterback, plus 800 to plus 900. Joe Burrows around that plus 800 to plus 1,000. Jalen Hurts, CJ Stroud, Jordan Love, Lamar Jackson, Brock Purdy, all the way down. We don't get a running back until we don't get a non-quarterback until we get Christian McCaffrey, who comes in after Matthew Stafford and Trevor Lawrence. I'll start with you, Matty. Where are you going with the quarterback? I mean MVP, and I don't mean quarterback. Where are you going with the MVP?
So for the NFL MVP award, Fizz, you might like hearing this. I ain't gonna lie. I'm going with Dak Prescott plus 2,000. It's time for Dak to put up or shut. He's got his guy. He's got CD. He's going to have them all year long. They don't have a run game. He's going to throw the ball 650 times. He lit it up last year. He's going to light it up this year. Everyone is down on the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, face it, if Dak Prescott did the exact same thing that he has done throughout his entire career with the wins, the losses, the stats in Seattle, people wouldn't hate Dak that much. They'd be like, he's just a good quarterback. He's in Dallas, so he's hated. The Dallas Cowboys are hated, already thrown away. Can the Washington Commanders beat the Dallas Cowboys? Already a narrative. If Dak ponies up, lights it up, he's going to be in line for an MVP award. And now with will Lamar do it again? There's a path to Dak Prescott not only living up to the Dallas Cowboy hype, but getting all the narratives and getting that MVP trophy. So I'm going to go with the fat odds here. Dak Prescott, 2,000 on DraftKings.
So 2,000 on DraftKings. Make sure you shop around because you can get him at plus 2,500 on Caesars. That's where you get a little more for that. Dak, you caught me off guard there. And I think a good point you brought up for two things. One being it feels like every year for the last decade, usually we enter the season with Dallas in this conversation, right? This year, Dallas is in this conversation because they haven't paid nobody and everything's kind of in a negative viewpoint. Number two is if Dak does double down and potentially improve upon last year, which is a 69%, 4,500 yards, 36 touchdowns, 9 picks, career season across the board, other than, he's 1 touchdown shy of his career best. If he doubles down on that, throws for 4,800 and 40 touchdowns, that's going to mean a big season for not only CeeDee Lamb, but also Brennan Cooks, Jalen Tolbert, and those
Ferguson.
I mean, we can talk about these guys later in the fantasy late round player of the year conversation. Fizzle, where are you going for the MVP award?
Man, I feel like I'm getting taught a lesson today because my boy goes with Dak. And honestly, I spoke on Dak being the top 2 quarterback in fantasy only because I feel like he want to show Jerry Jones, listen, you don't want to pay me. It's all good. I'm about to have the best season of my career, and somebody else going to give me the biggest bag in this league. So I think Dak want to really show everybody that he's him. But I'm going to go Jalen Hurts on this one, man. I'm going Jalen Hurts. I know what I know with Kellen Moore, and that defense won't have a time to catch a breath, man. He going to throw that ball, run play after play after play after play after play. And whether it's a lot of interceptions involved or not, he's going to definitely lead the league in passing this year for sure. So Jalen Hurts, MVP, man. The numbers is going to count for itself. I say that. Hard to go skill player though, Cody. I wanted to try to throw one in, man, but
it's
quarterback
tough.
league,
It's quarterback award. What are you gonna do?
If
Jalen
there was one, would it be like? I mean, I'd probably not go McCaffrey. Would you go like a Tyreek or a Bijan or something, or if you were gonna go non quarterback?
Well, if I'm going to go non-quarterback, and I don't mean to be biased, but if we're going to do what Matty just said, I'm going to say CD Lamb, bro. I'm going to say CD Lamb, man. If that going to tear the league up and throw for all these yards, he only had one guy that's the key player on that team to receive all of that. So
Right.
I would say CD Lamb, man. If Cooper Kupp can do what he did a couple years ago with Matt Stafford, I don't see why CD Lamb can't. He don't have nobody else around him. So I would say CD, man. Non-biased opinion, I would say CD.
That would be sick. That would be sick, and that would make that money warranted. I'm going to go quarterback, and somebody already won the MVP award on this team 4 times in 10-year span, 2011 to 2021. 45 touchdowns, 6 picks, 4,600 yards. 38 touchdowns, 5 picks, 4,300 yards. 4,300 yards, 48 touchdowns, 5 picks, 4,137 and 4 picks. Good stat line. This last year, Jordan Love had 4,132 touchdowns and 11 picks. I've talked about this on a multitude of other shows. I think this Green Bay team kind of took after the San Francisco 49ers playbook. They utilized the Senior Bowl to a T, and they built this roster to a spot where it's going to be very, 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 very hard for Jordan Love to fail in any aspect of the game. They brought in the running back this year in Josh Jacobs, but they surrounded Love with Jaden Reed, Romeo Doubs, Christian Watson, Dontavian Wicks, Bo Melton, Luke Musgrave, Tucker. Like, you can just keep on going.
Yeah. AJ, I mean, Josh Jacobs, that dude catches.
Yeah, I know you weren't just about to say AJ Dillon, but
I did. I don't know why. The brain cramp right there.
If Jordan Love can, pop that completion percentage from 64 to 68, we see him take a jump forward up into that Dak and Rodgers conversation as far as efficiency goes. And you remember the big difference in Rodgers was Rodgers never turned the ball over. How many seasons did Rodgers go where it was like sub 10 picks? It was every year between 2011 and 2021. Not once did he go through more than 8 picks. 6'8", 6'5", 8'7", 6'2", 4, 5, 4. Made 0 sense. Just maniacal shit, right? 48 touchdowns and 5 picks. You ain't hardly ever see that, ever. If Love can go 40 touchdowns, 10 picks, 40 touchdowns, 8 picks, throw for 47, 4,800 yards, I think Love's going to be in the dead center of that conversation because this team's probably going to win 13 games. Newsflash, like, this is a really good football team, and I would say pound for pound better than San Francisco. So I'm going to go Jordan Love, and his odds right now, the best place to get it is over at, where is it at? Caesars or ESPN Bet at plus 1,500. So I like the Love. So Matty's going Dak, Fizz is going Hurts, and I'm going Jordan Love.
Yeah, I'm good with that. Sound like a good list to me. But it's still a quarterback league, brother. Sorry.
It's got to be.
It's got to be.
None of us went Patrick Mahomes. I'm not going to lie.
I mean, I was listening to Cody talk, and everything he described about Jordan Love kind of sound like C.J. Stroud. His whole situation got better. The addition of Diggs and Joe Mixon, and now hopefully refined Cam Akers, man. Let's pray on it. My boys there. So, yeah, I mean, everything you described about Jordan Love and having that offense where it's really no true one, it's just a bunch of guys, but they all elite underneath him and that offense. I'm not saying the coaching style is as good as probably Green Bay, but the skill players around CJ, they can go, back to back with Jordan Love. That'd be a hell of a Super Bowl, right? Green Bay versus the Texans. I pay to watch it.
That would be fun. That would be a good Super Bowl.
I would pay to watch.
So MVPs, we're talking MVPs here. We're going to talk about our newest sponsor here at South Harmon Fantasy Football, the MVPs of keeping it right and keeping it tight, Manscaped. Oh, Manscaped 20. Here we go. Promo code SHFF20 gets you 20% off and free shipping. Take care of yourself, everybody. Make sure you're nice and well kept.
Scrub your nuts.
Scrub your nuts. Keep it tight. get it shaved up. And if you're doing it, getting the lawnmower, the weed whacker, anything at Manscaped, make sure you use that promo code. Do it now. SHFF20 gets you that 20% off and free shipping. Let's keep it going, baby.
Boys, I just got the weed whacker, and that thing, I mean, it sounds like it's like, "Wah!" Clean you right up right quick. Though. So SHFF20, go check it out, Manscaped. Let's move to offensive rookie of the year, because I think this one is very interesting for a couple of reasons. Predominantly because I think it's a 2-horse race, and I would love to hear if you guys think otherwise. But Jaden Daniels and Caleb Williams, as far as pre-season expectations, I think it's pretty clear cut. When I think about the landscape of the position, I want to put Malik Neighbors and Marvin Harrison Jr. into this conversation, but I feel much better about Caleb and Jaden Daniels. What say you guys?
Yeah, I'm with you, bro. The quarterbacks league, unfortunately, at all costs, and it's the two guys, Jaden and Caleb, man. Much as like you said, Marv would love to see him get 1,300 yards and 11 touchdowns or 1,400 yards. You know, break the record. Well, Puka had 14 plus last year. So if
14,
Marvin
yeah.
then got 15, Marv got 15. Could we really say, damn, like, what did these quarterbacks do to make that look crazy? But I just think it's a quarterbacks league, man. They always find a way to cheat the guys out of. They need their own award, honestly. But
Literally,
we got to go Caleb and Jade, man. If I had to pick, for sure.
Caleb is plus 150 right now over at Bet River. That's the best place you can get him. A couple other places I'm at plus 140. Daniels, you can get him up to plus 600 on FanDuel, all the way down to plus 475 on DraftKings. Next is Marvin Harrison Jr., plus 650, plus 700. Bo Nix actually weaseled his way in there ahead of Malik Neighbors. So kind of what seems like creating a little bit of value for the Malik Neighbors field if he got super sick this year with maybe a 1,400-yard season or something like that. He's at plus 1,500, then followed by Drake May, Xavier Worthy, Keon Coleman, Lad McConkey, Brian Thomas Jr., and then Roma Dunze and Brock Bowers.
Yeah, it comes between the two. I think for the betting purposes, I'm going to go Jaden across the board because the juice is there. But if I was just trying to predict the future and pick a winner, it's so hard to not pick Caleb Williams. And it's because the pedigree's there, the experience is there, and the narratives are there between Hard Knocks being the 101, between the a historic franchise that's been deprived of a good quarterback before I was even on this earth. So everything is playing in his favor. It's the most QB-friendly onboarding we've ever seen in the NFL. And when you look at the expectations versus narrative, if he comes away with a Trevor, let's look at Trevor Lawrence last year. Super mediocre year. Fantasy-wise, he was 17.3 points a game, quarterback 13. 4,000 yards, 21 passing touchdowns, adds 339 rushing yards. So let's call it 4,200 total yards and anywhere from 21 to 25 touchdowns. If Caleb hits that mark, which we will look at it in fantasy and be like, yeah, not bad. He will run away with that. And if the Bears are competitive, I mean, you could book it up as long as they're sniffing around. They do have a very favorable schedule, on the NFL side of things. Put all those together, it's just hard to see it not being Caleb, to be honest.
I think that the Daniels one is kind of where I lean just because of the juice there. But, I mean, Caleb.
Yeah, juice-wise, I'm taking it all day.
Seemed like there's less room for him to mess up with all that talent in Chicago. The only thing I could say is that it feels it's going to be a lot harder for Caleb and the Bears to win that division than it would be, which sounds maniacal to say, than it would be for Jaden Daniels and the Commanders to potentially win like 9 games, 10 games, hit a wild card spot, and then just seem adds a little more juice to the season. Is that, if that makes any sense, right? Jaden's doing more with less, I guess, would be the conversation.
He'd have to be electric, which is possible.
I kind of like the Daniels plus 600 over at FanDuel. But, I mean, my pick's going to always be Malik Neighbors. That's like this year on Penn. It's like no matter what, Malik Neighbors, no matter what. I've drafted him in these drafts. Like I know people are going to take him in between when I'm going to be up and when I'm not going to be up. So I'll just reach like a full round to give me some Malik Neighbors because I don't care. Everyone's talking about Daniel Jones sucks, Daniel Jones this, Daniel Jones that. I'm going to just say one more thing right here. In 2015, Blake Bortles was the quarterback for Allen Robinson in his sophomore season. He targeted Allen Robinson 151 times. He caught the ball 80 times. That's like a 55% completion percentage to Allen Robinson, or I should say catch. Oh, damn. How did I say
catch
that?
Right? Yeah. Catch right.
Catch percentage.
Yeah.
1,400 yards and 14 touchdowns on 80 catches. And he only caught the ball 55% of the time. So I'm not saying Malik Neighbors is going to do that, but we've seen these wide receivers get disgustingly sick the last couple of years. I think they're going to continue to do that as the years go by. Malik Neighbors is that guy for me, plus 1,500 at FanDuel.
So with the money line, I get where you're going, Cody. But what will Malik have to do to beat out Caleb to get the rookie of the year? Like what will have to be his stat line? Because I get what you're saying, and it's it sounds like a good story, but I don't know how it can really happen. Like
yeah, he pretty much had to do about what I just said, like 1,414 touchdowns, but like maybe even more than that. Like
Caleb and Daniels fall on their face.
They would have to get hurt or something.
Think about what Puka did last year. Puka got, and couldn't overtake Stroud. Stroud, I guess, was kind of a different ball of wax, but I also think Caleb's probably going to have some type of a Stroud season. So I don't think it's a good bet. I'm not going to go put the house on Neighbors or anything, but I definitely I'm trying to scrimp on that shit because I just want to watch it happen.
Nah, I'm with you. But I'm a second Matty, man. Everything Matty said, I'm 100% with. The money line, you take Jaden if you just want to try to win some money, but I don't see how Caleb doesn't win. Storyline, offense, defense, everything is around him for him to win. Like you either gonna love him or hate him. I don't see too much hate and love for Jaden as I see for Caleb. So if he does what he's supposed to do, or 80% of it, you're gonna have to give it to him. I think it's gonna be a no-brainer. So Caleb to win, Jaden for the bet, just to win a little extra more. All right,
there you go. We're all pretty much in line with loving the Jaden Daniels at plus 600 over there, but we feel like Caleb's probably going to be the guy that ends up holding that trophy up at the end of the line. Let's go to fantasy players of the year and late round fantasy player of the year. For fantasy player of the year, let's just go with a guy that probably going in that first 3 rounds and is kind of going to be the king of fantasy. And I know the last 5 years, it feels like that's Christian McCaffrey every single season, but you kind of alluded to it a minute ago. If Lamb goes nuclear, that would kind of qualify him as being that guy. If Bijan overtakes McCaffrey as the numero uno, maybe we get a little, I don't know, one of these guys gets sick in the middle of the first round and it's like, AJ Brown comes through. Where does your mind go when I say fantasy player of the year 2024?
Me personally. Go ahead, Matty. Go ahead.
No.
Okay. All right. I was going to say, me personally, I don't want to go with the top guys. Like you just say, CeeDee Lamb, Bijan, those guys. Puka Nacua, man, is fantasy player of the 2024 season, man. Puka Nacua showed me enough last year that he could double down on it, and I'm doubling down. Every redraft, I've taken him over Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson. If I can get him, I'm taking him. So Puka Nacua. I know Cooper Kupp is healthy. Who knows for how long? And then that's my dog. So shout out to Kupp. But we're going Puka, man. I'm always going coaching over everything. And Sean McVay is one of those guys that love his players and he love to look like he want to be there. So I think he's going to give Puka the juice that he need and remind him every day, like you him. Like I think he really talked to his guys like that. Like, don't let nobody question what you can do. And we're going to get Puka, man. MVP of the fantasy season, man, for me, Puka.
It's funny. We picked different players, but our thought process was in line, Fizz, because I stayed away from the early guys. To me, the fantasy MVP is the guy at the 1-2 all the way to 2.5 turn, because he allows you to double down on 2 studs. You can go McCaffrey in this guy, blah, blah, blah. Or if you get bad luck and you're sitting there at 11-12, this is a guy that can kind of keep you in line with the people who had the second and third pick. So I went same line of thinking, different player. I took Garrett Wilson. Garrett Wilson's going to be my fantasy offensive player of the year. He's going, 12, 15 overall pick. In his career, this is who he's caught in passes or touchdown passes from: Zach Wilson, Joe Flacco, Mike White, Trevor Siemian, Tim Boyle, Chris Shrevler. Bums. And Aaron Rodgers is there now, and we're hoping he's healthy. And Aaron Rodgers, while he was with the Green Bay Packers, this is Devontae Adams in Green Bay whenever he saw 100-plus targets. And I think, we all know no matter what, Garrett Wilson's getting 100 targets. He had plus 100 targets with all of these bums. With Aaron, he's getting way more than 100. And anytime Adams had just 100-plus targets, this is where he finished in fantasy. Wide receiver 12, wide receiver 8, wide receiver 1, wide receiver 6, wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2. And again, Garrett Wilson's going at the end of the first into the second. He is going to be that life preserver if you're picking at the end, or he's that double down, stud that you can get in round 2, much like CeeDee Lamb was last year. So I'm going to go Garrett Wilson.
Here's my question for you, Matty. Garrett Wilson, wide receiver 7 right now. If he goes and 1,300, 1,400 double-digit touchdowns with Rodgers, I know we're looking a year from now. Let's just hypothetically say Rodgers is still in New York a year from now. Wilson's going at the 1-2 turn. Again, wide receiver 7. Is he a top 3 pick in 2025 if he does this?
No, and it's really not anything against him. It's just the nature of the position. It's nature of the draft. Because Hall and Robinson, they can have mediocre years.
Put into that Lamb Jefferson conversation, though?
Probably on the back end of it, because I expect Lamb and Jefferson to do Lamb and Jefferson things. So, to me, the first round's loaded with wide receiver production. That's why I've typically gone wide receiver in round 1, running back round 2. But with Amon-Ra St. Brown has 14 games indoors, guys. He has gotten better each and every year. He's going to be there. Jamar Chase is the one that's going to fall or Tyreek Hill because of age or contract dispute. So, yeah, he could get into the mid, but he's always going to be that kind of end of the round. Like Puka. Puka had 1,400 yards last year, and he's still at the end of round 1 in terms of ADP. So it's not anything Garrett Wilson can do or not do. Dak Prescott could be the next QB of the Jets next year. Who knows? Yeah, I don't see him creeping up into that Jefferson top 3 pick. I don't see that.
I had to ask it. All right, this is where I'm going to go. I'm going to go to a guy that we've seen run the hell out of the football on a bad football team. He's now on a good football team. And you guys know me. I grew up in Minnesota, Viking fan, went to way too many Minnesota Viking games as I grew up, hated the Green Bay Packers. And I'm going to go back to the Packers for this one as well. I gave the MVP award to Jordan Love, and the fantasy MVP award is going to go to Josh Jacobs. Oh. Josh Jacobs is going to be the guy that,
okay,
kind of like you said, brings your team together because you're getting him at the late second. Sometimes you get him into I've got him to late third in some leagues. Sure. So he's going off 27s right now, running back 12. He's a guy that, you look at the names ahead of him, Devon Achane, not going to get the workload Jacobs is. Go past him, Isaiah Pacheco. We've started to hear some of the receiving stuff come out of Kansas City. They also tried to sign Josh Jacobs. Derrick Henry. I love me some big dog. I love me King Henry, but he's also got Lamar Jackson there. He's also got an age problem at his own hand. Travis Etienne, love him. Kyron Williams, a little overrated. Like Josh Jacobs, I believe, is number 1, a disgusting value right now, but also number 2, in line for some sick work. And we saw it with Christian McCaffrey in San Francisco. When he went over there, it kind of opened up the door. He went from an inept franchise to a team that knew how to use him. I think we're going to see the same thing out of Jacobs. I'm going to go out and say 20 plus touchdowns for Josh Jacobs in 2024. Okay. Let's do late round player of the year really quickly. Late round player of the year. This can be anything probably, I don't know, outside of the 6th round, 7th round. Anything outside of there kind of opens up the conversation. Which one of you guys wants to start first?
Go ahead, Matty. I'll let you kick it, man.
Okay. I appreciate that. This is for my 1 QBers out there. This is my cashes out there. My seasonal dogs. Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence is my best. He's going to be the best late round pick. He is becoming the latest round, if you're going late round QB of the whole thing, because we're seeing Kyler kind of creep up. We're seeing the guy Jaden and Caleb creep up. Trevor Lawrence continues to sit around 11, 12. But he had, Trevor Lawrence, first and foremost, has a little bit of low-key rushing upside. He's had over 300 yards on average each of his years in the NFL. There's been improvements to the Jaguars' passing attack, mainly in the deep ball, which is good because Trevor Lawrence is good at throwing the ball deep. We saw last year he was 5th in deep ball attempts, 8th in air yards per attempt, but he was also 7th in money throws and 8th in deep ball accuracy rating. And they added Gabe Davis and Brian Thomas Jr. That should open up the field deep for Trevor Lawrence, open up potential running lanes for Trevor Lawrence. And to return his value, I mean, he could creep into the top 10, 11 and give you a serious return on investment. Last year, Trevor Lawrence was actually top 12 in wins over replacement. So he was a little bit more valuable than given credit in the 1 QB leagues. And the fact that you can build your entire core, throw him on top, you'll take that top 12 warp type player. If you can get into the top 8, top 10, you're really cooking with gas. And according to Fantasy Pros right now, Trevor Lawrence and the Jacksonville Jaguars have the best schedule fantasy-wise for quarterbacks. So there's, a path to evolution with the passing game itself and the deep threat and the weaponry. Obviously, the rushing floor is there. And if they have an easy schedule, which if you're in the AFC South, you're going to have some shootouts. Trevor Lawrence is that sneaky guy you can get late in 1 QB that really brings the whole team together.
All right. Well, I feel like if you've been watching me or listening to me for like the last 2 months, man, my guy, my bet on the house, every time I get in the draft, I got to take him. And Matty took him from me in our staff league, and it shot me in the heart, bro. I almost cried, man. Jerome Ford, man. Jerome Ford will be a RB1 this year, man. At least every week he's starting. Let me say that. Every week that he's starting, RB1. Now, if they throw Chubb in the mix somewhere around December, then cool, he might tail off. But I feel like he's going to be so good that they won't rush Chubb. They won't need to put Chubb in the game and save him for later in the season, rev him up. But I think last year, Jerome Ford, like I said before, he came into the season last year not knowing he was going to be the starter. Mm-hmm. I think Chubb got hurt game 2.
Yeah.
So mentally, he's not thinking I'm about to take this job. So he comes in week 3 as the starter. And from week 3 all the way up until the end of the season, I want to say he finished like RB 15 or 16. So if he can do that, not coming in the training camp with that mentality of I'm going to be that guy, and to come straight in with 5-6 different quarterbacks last year, they had a terrible string of quarterbacks coming in behind Deshaun Watson. So with a terrible offense last year, he still finished 15, 16. I don't see how coming in with Deshaun Watson being healthy and the offense being much better at the receiver position that my boy can't finish as an RB1, man. So RB1 season, Jerome Ford, every week that he's starting, put your money on it, man. That's how we going to do it. We forward tough, baby. That's how we going to carry it.
I wrote down 2 players for this, and I didn't know which way I was going to go. I had a little bit more info on Trevor Lawrence, so I went Lawrence. The other guy I had written down was Jerome Ford. I love Jerome Ford, baby. You're getting him so late.
He's been moving up the charts for the last like 2 weeks in drafts, but I was taking him way back in July, man. I was like, he my RB1 in like the 4 of my leagues, man. Like Jerome Ford, baby. It's that time.
Across multiple ADPs, RT Sports currently has him the highest. NFL.com has him the lowest. The discrepancy, 67 picks. He's going off 86th at RT Sports in 1 QB PPR, 153 NFL.com.
That's crazy.
1 QB PPR, and then ESPN Sleeper have him at 120, 122, kind of middle of the line, which is kind of where his ADP's at, 113 overall on average, but I mean, just a massive difference.
Yeah.
For the RB1 for the Cleveland Browns. I'm going to go back to the NFC North here. Two wide receivers I've been drafting a metric fuck ton in round 10 and 11. And I might have just got us demonetized using the word fuck 6 times in the fucking 16.
We're half hour in. We might be good.
We have 10 minutes. We're about to be good.
Yeah, we good.
Sorry if there's kids watching. I appreciate you. I love you. Click that like button. Click subscribe. We love you as our fan
Potty
too.
mouth.
Cody,
119th overall. This wide receiver 49. Jameson Williams is not the guy, but I do love him. I'm going to go back to the Green Bay Packers.
You got
because it probably makes a good thumbnail if I do this. I can probably just go like this and put Josh Jacobs, put Jordan Love, and put Romeo Dobbs right there on the sheet. My late round player of the year. He's going off right now as, let me scroll down here, about 16, 17, 18 pages down. Wide receiver 52. Wide receiver 52 for Romeo Doubs, who had 60 receptions, 674 yards, and 8 touchdowns last year. This is the wide receiver 1 in Green Bay. I love me some Jaden Reed, but again, he's going to be playing this Deebo Samuel role. I'm going to beat this thing into the ground like a drum. Jordan Love's going to win the MVP. Josh Jacobs is going to win you leagues with 20 rushing touchdowns or 20 total touchdowns. And Romeo Doubs is going to break 1,000 receiving yards and be attached to Jordan Love going forward. And I promise you, a year from now, this guy will be a top 5 round pick in fantasy football seasonal leagues. Romeo Doubs once was a kitty cat. And then he found his nuts. He's back. Romeo Doubs.
I was wondering where you was going with that,
brother. Has there ever been a jump so big from the kitty cat rankings to the dog rankings in history?
Never been a comeback as aggressive and as maniacal as Romeo Doubs. And I mean no disrespect from that, Romeo. If you're listening, I didn't say you didn't have nuts. I just said at one point you was a kitty cat, and now you're
a dog.
It is what it is. You're a dog, son. Romeo Doubs is the late season player of the year. All right.
Yo, can we call Romeo Doubs Cat Dog from now on? You guys remember that cartoon when we were kids?
Yeah,
cat dog. Cat dog. Ain't nothing in this world for a little cat dog.
Hey, nah, that's my show.
That's a good idea. If I was to play a profile, you know what we do? We take the cat dog, the little character, we put him on the player page because that would be dialed right there.
Sleeper, pick it up, do it. Cat dog.
Sleeper, pick it up. You heard it. All right. Let's skip division winners. Let's go straight for the jugular. Straight to Super Bowl winners. If you want to bring up a sneaky division winner, bring them up. But let's go straight to Super Bowl matchup, Super Bowl winner. Matty, I'll start with you. Where does your mind go when I just say preseason, pick a Super Bowl winner? I think everybody just goes right to Kansas City, see if they can three-peat this thing. But where do you go for a matchup and for a Super Bowl champion?
So real quick, and maybe I'll leave this for you to kind of talk about it because you put me onto it. I put this bet down weeks ago. Was Arizona Cardinals winning the NFC West? If you feel it in your gut, kind of like I do, like it feels like the Niners have gone through a lot over these last few years. And do they have the energy to rally the troops again when 2 of their biggest troops did not even report till 2 days ago? It feels like this might be the year that they could slip. And then after that, Seattle has a whole lot of new regime, but I like the Cardinals as a sleeper. So that's kind of a sleeper division at plus 1,300 on DraftKings if you want some extra juice. But Super Bowl wise, yeah, I got the Chiefs back in the Super Bowl. This might be the best offense that Patrick Mahomes has ever been in the leader of in Kansas City. And once they're clicking by, Halloween or Thanksgiving, they're going to be so hard to beat with that offensive line. Kingsley Suamataia is going to break camp as a starting tackle, which is huge for this team because Wanya Morris just was not the guy after they drafted him in the third round a couple years ago. And they'll take on the Detroit Lions. The Lions went through absolute disgusting heartbreak as they blew that lead in San Francisco, but Dan Campbell is the right guy for the job to kind of right the ship and get the boys ready to go. And they have superstars on both sides of the ball, which is exactly what you're looking for. And then when if they have to go to cold weather places at the end of the season, good luck getting past Penei Sewell and that ridiculous offensive line and having to tackle Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. They're built to win for fantasy. They're built to win in the NFL. So I have them in the Super Bowl. And I have the Detroit Lions winning plus 1,200 now on DraftKings, winning the Super Bowl, hoisting the Lombardi Trophy. It's just so fucking hard to repeat. It's never been done. To pick the Chiefs felt really tough. I think they'll be there. But like I said, the Lions are built to win tough games. Aiden Hutchinson can get off the QB and kind of been under the radar. Terrion Arnold fell to them, which is kind of stupid. One of the best cornerbacks in the league in the draft last year falls all the way to the Detroit Lions, which desperately needed a cornerback one. So I think they have what it takes to be the Super Bowl champs.
Lions Chiefs, huh?
Be a good game.
Let me see what the exact is on that over at FanDuel. Detroit Motor City Kitty versus Kansas City plus 4,800 for the old Kitty Cats. $5 into 240.
Hell yeah! Where's the Super Bowl at this year?
New Orleans.
New Orleans.
Oh, okay. I know there's any change.
We almost, hey, couple weeks away from have been there for 365 days ago.
That's right. We hung out there last year. We went to see a game. That was fun.
Fizz, Super Bowl champion, Super Bowl matchup. How you feeling?
Well, champion, man. We're gonna go Lamar Jackson, Baltimore Ravens, man. It's that time. That's why he not my MVP vote, because I feel like we got that out the way. Now it's time to get the real hardware, the trophy, man. I like what Matty said though. Once the Chiefs get to clicking, the only thing about the Chiefs though, as long as they get in the playoffs, they can be bad all season, like on and off bad, kind of dysfunctional, because that's how it was last year. And once they get in the playoffs, it's a whole nother animal. So they are definitely dangerous. They're gonna be in the way, but I just think it's ring or nothing, man, for the Ravens, man. So the Ravens are my pick to go and to win it. And in the NFC is never a repeat like team. Seems like everybody knew every single year. Unlike the AFC, man, we know who's going every year. So as much as I want to pick Philly for having this dangerous offense and crazy team, I'm not being biased, but I'm gonna double down on the Cowboys, man. The Cowboys going. This is my reason why. I know people probably got off by now. They clicked off. They got off. They clicked off. I understand it. But I say this, every year the Cowboys come into the season, they get hyped up through the media because they're the Cowboys. But when you look at the roster, bro, they really aren't as good as half the teams in the NFC. I mean, last year, we didn't stack up against a lot of those teams on paper, but they win games. And I feel like if they can just win one playoff game, bro, if they get the one out the way, as long as it's not the 49ers or the Packers, man, we can play anybody else week one. I think, man, they get the momentum and feeling. And I believe that Dak Prescott really want to show everybody that it's over, man. Y'all really sleeping on me. I know I've been slacking. I fold under pressure every year. I'm going to say the Cowboys, not being biased, but I'm standing on Dak Prescott saying, this is my year. Pay me the most money you ever going to pay anybody. So Dallas Cowboys and the Ravens, but I still got the Ravens beating them, though. I'm not going to say they're going to win it, but Cowboys and the Ravens, man. Go look up the odds, man. Let's put some money on that, Cody.
Plus 11,000, $5 get you $5.50 right there.
Get your money, baby. Get paid.
You watch sports long enough, you kind of see narratives get thrown away. There was a time when, Alex Rodriguez in baseball couldn't win the big one. He won the big one. I remember when LeBron James was a quote-unquote loser. After he lost to Dirk Nowitzki in the Mavericks, the joke was this guy was never going to win. And now you look back and that was just a blip in the radar on one of the greatest championship-type players in the history of the sport. Cowboys are the same way. If they can just get over that hurdle, win that one playoff game, they have the talent. Micah Parsons, Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb can change the dynamics of a game.
With all the drama going on this summer, it's just imagine if they overcome all the headache, all the Jerry Jones saying that, the media would love that. I ain't saying that they won't win the Super Bowl, but I think, man, if they get that one win and get some confidence, they be all right, man. So, let's put that $5 down, get us 500, man.
Let's go.
The last Super Bowl that happened in New Orleans was 2013. Baltimore Ravens got that dub against the San Francisco 49ers. Before that, it was 2002. It was the Patriots. It was Matty's Patriots. Before that, it was my pick, the Green Bay Packers. The Green Bay Packers.
I'm
going to the Super Bowl.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't double down. I didn't triple down. I'm quad down, whatever the hell that is. I'm quadding down on all these picks tonight. Fucking hate the Packers.
You're cooking up and quadding down, baby.
I fucking hate the Packers. But I tell you what, I got to respect them. And this is why you take the bias out of everything, is you have to see it straight. And I see it straight. I like the Detroit Lions, Matty. I love that pick. I honestly do. But for me, it comes down to Packers Chiefs or Packers Jets. And just to be an asshole, I'm going to go Packers Jets because I want to see Jordan Love retire Aaron Rodgers. I think Rodgers
gets to the most hype thing of all time.
It would be the most hype thing of all time. And it would like, if Rodgers has a long run like that, goes to the Super Bowl and loses, I think he's just done. I don't think he'll go back for another season after like that long of a run into the championship. Boom. And then Jordan Love dethrones him. Like, I feel like that's just a Dunsky thing right there. And I love Rodgers, but plus 16,000, let's shoot the moon here. Up it up a little bit more, $5 to win 800. Green Bay Packers go 14-2. They go to the playoffs as the number 1 seed. The Jets make it as a wild card team and make that run to the Super Bowl, and then they get beat 35-21 to the Green Bay Packers, who last won the Super Bowl in 1997 against Matty's Patriots. That's all I got.
Let's go.
Well, I'm on DraftKings right now, brother. I'm about to put my money in, man. Put my money where my mouth is, man.
Put my money where my mouth is. All right. You can find Fizz over on X at FizzleDolla. You can find Matty over on X at Matty Kiwoom. You click that like button, click subscribe, and turn those bells on because the NFL season is here. And if you want to hear the content schedule, go back to about the 3rd minute of the show. Matty walks you through all of the live shows, all the podcasts that will be on the feed and on the stream every single week. And every single week, starting next Tuesday at 10 a.m., myself and Fizz will be live at 10 a.m., pretty much talking about everything you need to know from last weekend and everything you need to go going forward. And we'll be interacting live with you guys, talking about your fantasy matchups because we love you, we appreciate you, and we're thankful for everything that you guys do. Again, follow at FizzleDolla on X, at Matty Kiwoom. I'm Cody Carpentier. Until next week, episode 93, we appreciate you, we love you, and have yourselves a kick-ass week 1.
Cook up.